Well, hey guys, it's Ultra Maximus here, and I'm back with another Transformers review. This time I want to do something a little different, something a little bit special, and I figured I'd do a 2-for-1. I'm going to do the Junkions. Wreck-Gar from Reveal the Shield, and Junkheap from the Generations line. So I figured it'd be fun to kind of do both of them at the same time, and kind of really compare the two different figures, compare the paint applications, compare the head molds, all that kind of fun stuff. So let's get ready to dare to be stupid, y'all. Alright, so here we have Wreck-Gar and Junkheap. So this will be kind of fun. I've never done this before. I'm going to take two figures. They're obviously repaints of one another in two different lines, and we're going to do a review together and kind of compare them in box and out of box. Fun, fun, fun. So over here on the left we have Wreck-Gar from the Reveal the Shield line, and then we have Junkheap from the Generations line. Obviously same type of card package, card stock. We got the same exact Transformers logo, same exact age brackets, although I find it very interesting that Reveal the Shield Wreck-Gar is a level 3 intermediate, and Generations Junkheap is a level 2 intermediate. So that's kind of weird, kind of funny stuff. I just kind of want to go over some differences of the figures altogether. So continue to look at the package, we have a hub sticker over here on the Reveal the Shield Wreck-Gar. No hub sticker over here. We've got the Reveal the Shield logo here, where it's got Autobot, Decepticon, because we do the little rub sticker here, and over here we just have a flat out Autobot logo. And of course we've got more of a goldish color box going on here versus the red color going on here. We do have the figures, or the pictures of the figures up there. Let's take a look, just kind of a closer look here. Again, notice, see, look, he's level 3, he's level 2. What's up with that? That's very, very strange. And then just kind of looking at the figure, they're both in motorcycle mode, right? We've got on the top here, really nothing going on here. We do have on the side, we've got that kind of Autobot imprint with the question mark. And then over here on this guy, we've got just a flat out Autobot imprint on the plastic itself. So, and then on the sides, just kind of looking again, same exact same bubble pack and everything. We just have the Reveal the Shield versus a flat out Autobot, right? And then looking at the figure kind of close in. That's what he looks like there. Of course, he's got the Reveal the Shield sticker up here, and then here's the motorcycle and me in the reflection. Junkheap's much darker red, and his yellows are more vibrant than Wreck-Gar. Wreck-Gar's kind of like a rusty brown looking color, kind of on the offset there, so that's kind of interesting. Back of the packaging, looking at the two figures. Whoop. Get the shot, and let's get out of that. So looking at the two figures here, really, I mean, it's about the same setup. We've got Wreck-Gar's bio, we've got Junkheap's bio. Oh, one thing I did want to note, Junkheap is flat out an Autobot on the box here, yet on the back they refer to him as a Junkion. Okay, he's also referred to as an Autobot right up here in his little, we'll take a closer look and I'll show you that. Whereas Wreck-Gar is not. And I got to pull some of the other Reveal the Shield figures. I can't remember if they actually display Autobot and Decepticon on the boxes. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But looking at the back here, robot, motorcycle, almost the exact same pose, pretty much about the same thing. Obviously, we have different head sculpts looking at the pictures. And we've got the big Reveal the Shield gimmick talked about right here. Stats are down over here, whereas they put the stats up on the Generations box where the Reveal the Shield gimmick is located. And of course they both have the axe. His says included battle axe, and this is obviously it's different. It's a 4-bladed axe, even though that looks like a 4-bladed axe to me too. So I don't know, whatever. Is what it is, right? Let's see, bios. Just kind of read those really quick. It says Wreck-Gar is obsessed with Earth, television, and maybe just a little bit flaky. His communications almost exclusively quotes from commercials and late-night movies, and the grin on his face never fades. Even in the heat of the battle, most Autobots have no idea what he's talking about most of the time, but they appreciate having his axe on their side. Very much in the flavor of the 1986 movie Wreck-Gar, which is nice, and he's definitely an homage to that character. His stats, he's a strength 9, intelligence 5, speed of 7, endurance of 10, rank of 4, courage of 8, fire blast of 6, and a skill of 5. Whereas Junkheap is strength 6, nowhere near strong, intelligence of 4, not as smart, speed of an 8, he's way faster, even though he's the same motorcycle. Endurance is 6, nowhere near as tough as Wreck-Gar, which is understandable. Rank of a 4, which that doesn't make any sense. Wreck-Gar's rank should be a lot higher than one of the generic Junkions. Courage of 5, so not quite as courageous. His fire blast is a 6, so they have the same amount of firepower. And skill of an 8, so he's actually more skillful than Wreck-Gar, which is kind of interesting. His bio reads, assembled and raised in the scrap pile, Junkheap is supremely resourceful bot. It was he who helped orchestrate the repair and reboot of this disabled Ultra Magnus. The mighty Autobot was so impressed with the talents of Junkheap that he encouraged Autobot Ratchet to spend an extended leave on planet Junkion to hone his repair skills. So that's really cool. They talk about the repair and reboot of Ultra Magnus, obviously referring to the 1986 cartoon where Galvatron has Ultra Magnus destroyed. They're going after the Matrix, and the Junkions rebuild him. That is very, very cool. I like that a lot. So let's do a nice quick look at, here's kind of a closer look, the reveal the shield gimmick. Look, there's the stats. Here's his bio. Here's Junkheap. Again, Autobot. There he is there. His stats and his bio. And I'm really impressed with his bio that they refer to the Junkion planet and they refer to Ultra Magnus getting scrapped and rebuilt. That's very, very awesome. Although it's interesting that they bring up Ratchet. I can see that because Ratchet's a mechanic, but Ratchet was dead by the time that happened in the movie, so kind of interesting. Underneath, we've got, who do we have under here? Sky Shadow is also available. There's a picture of Sky Shadow. I don't think I've ever actually seen Sky Shadow in the stores around here. I actually ordered these figures from Big Bad Toy Store by the case because these figures were kind of hard to find around here in Indiana. And then of course we got Perceptor underneath Wreck-Gar. So there they are. Very cool. Very nice. Let's get these guys out of the box, look at the motorcycle modes, and then look at the robot modes. Alright, so one of the cool things about the Reveal the Shield Wreck-Gar, he comes with this little paper here, and this is very reminiscent of the old school Transformer toys that had the collect them all, that had the pictures of all the Transformers and their names and all that kind of good stuff. And we've got the deluxe class figures here. There's Fallback and Mindset. Those two did not come in any of the boxes that I had ordered, which I felt a little sad about. And then we've got Bumblebee and Trax. We obviously have Wreck-Gar, Special Ops Jazz. And then over here we've got Optimus Prime and Perceptor. And then there's an advertisement over here for Michael Bay's Transformers 3, which is interesting. They just call it Transformers 3. Probably didn't have a title for it yet as such. And then on the back side, We've got some more figure advertisement. The Rodimus versus Cyclonus Battle in Space, which I wish I would have kind of picked up, but I already had those figures from the previous lines, and the Rodimus just his colors are just too bright for me. I don't know what the deal is with that. And look, we've got it all messed up there. Kind of hard to see. There's an Autobot and a Reveal the Shield logo over the Autobot logo. It's like they misprinted it. And then Cyclonus, and that's really what I wanted, was the Cyclonus figure, because he's way better than the Target Master one that I got, because that one's more gray and black and not as much purple, and this one's all kinds of G1 purple. And of course it came with that Matrix, which was really cool. And then we've got other figures. There was Lugnut, and I kind of wish I would have picked him up, but oh well. I might try to back order him or something. And then Strafe, didn't really care for him. Deep Dive, just a repaint of Sea Spray. Didn't really care much for him. And then Solar Storm Grapple. And I really wish I would have got that figure. I want to get the Inferno version in that one. I really like those figures, so I'll end up getting those eventually. So, but very cool, very neat stuff. And then there's little stuff about the Reveal the Shield. You can pause and read it if you want to. And of course we got the Reveal the Shield logo up here at the top. So very cool stuff. Very, very reminiscent to me of the old school Transformer toys. Alright, so here we have our two figures in motorcycle mode. Very cool looking stuff. There's some very key differences on the paint apps and in quality of the figures too. They're both about the same type of plastic. They're both kind of hard plastic. However, I did notice this figure, Wreck-Gar, being the first one, I think he rolls a little bit better. The wheels, I don't have any issues with that. But I did notice on Junk Heaps, his wheel is nowhere near as spinny. This one's okay, but this first one is just kind of tight. I don't know if that's a quality control issue or what the deal is with that. Some other things I did notice on the kickstand, like with Junk Heaps, I can put it straight down and it works just fine. Wreck-Gars, if you notice, I have to kind of put it a little more forward to get it to balance up, because if I put it straight down, it just falls over, which is not good at all. So again, I don't know if that's a quality control issue, what the deal is with that. The detail on these figures are awesome. I'm a big motorcycle guy, and you've probably seen my What Else Do I Collect video, and I've been in motorcycles forever. I've got a Harley Davidson sitting out in the garage right now, so I love bikes, and these are kind of, obviously these are like dirt bikes, but the detail on them are awesome. If you look, kind of hard to see, but there's the brake disc itself, and it's a dual brake disc wheel, which is very cool. You can actually see the brake disc and all the holes in it and everything. Very nice. They did a pretty decent job with the motor. And in fact, looking at the two of them, I like the paint job on the motor on Junk Heap better than I do on Wreck-Gar, because there's a big chunk. This should all be silver on the motorcycle. Okay. One thing, you can see some robot kibble. You can see the hands up under there, which are kind of hidden here because they're that rusty brown color on Wreck-Gar there. Here, they get kind of hidden because they're the same silver as the rest of the motor, which is fine. That works for me. It's unless you move it in a certain angle and you're like, oh yeah, look, little robot hands. So, yeah, is what it is, right? But I do like how the entire motor block has got a bunch of paint apps on it, which is pretty cool. Now, I gotta say, overall, I like the red on this bike better than I do the rusty brown. I think it just looks a little nicer. Also, I wish that was the flame job on Wreck-Gar. I wish that was like yellow instead of that black color. Now, he does have it up here on the top of the tank as well, which is pretty cool. And another thing is, kind of hard to see there, he's got a gas cap, which is very cool, and it's accurate. It's an accurate little gas cap. And you can see it in here a little bit easier. Very nice. And they also have gauges up underneath, which is very cool. Again, I kind of like this guy's a little better because it's got gray color. It's a little bit more accurate than what you would find on this. I mean, it's all that brownish kind of color there. Now, one thing I noticed, and this is on both bikes, I was expecting this to be hard plastic, but the handlebars and the brake assembly, and again, it's great detail. I mean, it looks awesome. I mean, they did a fantastic job on the detail on the handlebars, but it's a soft rubber, which is actually probably pretty good so it doesn't break. Now, with Wreck-Gar, what I kind of noticed, we've got the Reveal the Shield logo up here, and this is interesting. He's an Autobot. Instead of a square, it's actually cut out in the shape of the Autobot logo, which I thought that was kind of interesting. The other thing that was weird, the windshield, I like on this one, is clear, which is fine. But why did they have to paint that red? That doesn't make any sense to me, because when we look at this guy, now the windshield up here is just solid silver. Again, that's not much of an issue because they do have a lot of fairings out there on motorcycles that are solid, and that's fine. And they got an awesome looking little Autobot logo going on there. Kind of hard to see in the camera. But the thing I like about him, his headlight is clear plastic, which is awesome. I wish this guy had that. But he doesn't. They painted it, and that sucks. I don't like that. Other cool things, the back of the wheels are very detailed. You've got your springs, your struts, and your forks. Everything is just really, really nicely detailed. We've got a nice little paint app over here on this side of the bike. You can see the little red one right there. And then on Wreck-Gar's, unfortunately, he has no little paint app there, so that's kind of disappointing. But Wreck-Gar does have some yellow flames on the back sides underneath, which is cool. That is not present on Junkheap. The other thing that sucks, the tailpipe's very cool, and the back wheels are very nice. Tailpipes are very detailed, very cool. And this is what really stinks, and this is on both motorcycles. This is very disappointing. We've got such great detail with the tail lights and the license plate. We even have screws on the license plates to hold, 2 little screws to hold it underneath, molded in, but they didn't put anything there. Come on, J&K something. Wreck-Gar, you could put, RKGR or something, J&K on his. That would have been so awesome. Maybe somebody do a nice little repro sticker for it. That'd be very, very nice. And again, the seats are very nice, very detailed. We've got the back seats, very cool. And what's nice about this one, it looks like a little luggage rack on a motorcycle, which is very, very cool. Very good job. I gotta give it to the guys who sculpted it. Fantastic, very realistic from a motorcycle rider's point of view. Probably one of the best sculpts for a motorcycle that I have seen on a Transformer toy in a long, long time. Now, I have not seen the new Transformers Prime RC figure. That may be a little bit better, but I'm very much impressed with this one. Very, very, very much so. Now, the one thing noticed underneath, we can see our little robot heads, little robot kibble, and there's Junkheap under there, which is fine. Now, I noticed with Wreck-Gar, and I haven't turned him into a robot yet, but his goatee, the mustache and the beard actually come off, and that they look so fragile. Like if a little kid had this, those little mustache pieces are not going to last. He kind of looks like Captain Jack Sparrow there, doesn't he? Arr. But those are not going to last for a little kid. Collector, an adult, obviously he's not going to mess with it too much, and it should be okay, should be intact, but definitely not for a little kid. Whereas I think they realized that after that sculpt, because this guy, his mustache goes down to his chin and it stops right there. So just an observation. Just an observation. So very cool. Like the motorcycle modes. Very detailed. I like certain paint apps on this. I like certain paint apps on this. if they had mixed the two together, we would have a perfect Junkion motorcycle. Absolutely. So let's look at these guys in robot mode. Alright, so here we have Wreck-Gar and Junkheap in their robot modes. And I gotta say, I do like their robot modes. Very, very, very cool. Love the fact that they have very, very different head sculpts, which is nice. And they even keep the same Junkion motorcycle helmet thing, and it's very reminiscent of the old G1 toy, and we'll take a closer look, which is pretty cool, but their faces are very, very different. Now, the thing I have about these guys, and there's some things we're going to go over, articulation is actually, it's okay, I guess. I mean, we got ball joints, and we got some swivels here, and that moves at the wrists, and all that kind of jazz, and you'll see the videos where people look at them a lot closer. The thing I've got about it, these wheels up here on the shoulders can really restrict some arm movement there, and the kickstand in the back, because the kickstand ends up being like back on the back shoulder here. That's kind of annoying during transformation, and I noticed when I was transforming it and I went to go kick it up in motorcycle mode, it goes backwards than a real motorcycle, which I thought was kind of interesting. One cool thing though is when you take the weapon off, you see a lot more detail on the wheel, and you see all the nice little holes in the brakes, which is very cool. Again, big mad props to the guys who actually sculpted this. We also have the guns, which is very cool, which is very reminiscent of the old G1 characters. You can see on Wreck-Gar there, the nice little guns popping out there. Let's see if I can focus this up a little bit better. There we go. And really, I mean, it comes, I love the way the legs look of the motorcycle pieces down here. I mean, that looks really badass. And then you've got the saddle on that side, and the wheel on this one doesn't really make much of a difference as far as posability, but this is kind of a pain in the butt, and this leg is just like a little bit longer than this leg over here, so it kind of makes posing a pain in getting to stand upright. Now, that being said, they're still cool looking figures, and they look awesome standing up. I think what really separates these two figures apart from each other are the paint apps. I think Junkheap is painted much better than Wreck-Gar, which is really kind of sad because Wreck-Gar is supposed to be the head Junkion. Well, kind of look at it real quick here. I mean, look at that detail. He just looks, those yellows pop out. We've got yellow underneath the chest there on the chest plates. His weapon right there is yellow. Look at Wreck-Gar's weapon, just looks boring. You know, I mean, and Wreck-Gar's chest is actually done really well. It's got the flames, kind of like Hot Rod, and it looks pretty decent in the arms and the hands, but like in the hip area for Junkheap here, we've even got, it's kind of hard to pick up, but in the hip joints we have yellow, and we really don't have that with Wreck-Gar. It's just kind of bland. And this leg piece here, and this is what I really, really liked about him. The front of his foot is that red color, and at back of it's kind of the brown, or I'm sorry, the gray, whereas Wreck-Gar's is just all, his is all brown, and it's just not near as fun. And then, I mean, the yellow luggage rack really picks up, whereas Wreck-Gar's is just black. So I just think overall I like the paint scheme on this guy much better than I like the paint scheme on this guy here. It pops more. It says to me that I am a Junkion. I'm full of vibrant, I'm color, I'm just full of a bunch of different stuff, whereas his is just a little bit bland. And another thing that gets me on Wreck-Gar, his face is just a little too fleshy tone for me. And it's kind of hard to see in here, but he's just a little too flesh tone. The other thing is, like I said, I like the fact that their heads are the motorcycles, and they're clear for light piping, but Wreck-Gar doesn't have any glowing eyes. His are painted red, which kind of sucks. Now, Junkheap's does glow. I'm kind of see if I can get it in the aquarium light here. Doesn't want to pop out, but his actually do glow, which is very cool. So his eyes are red, and they actually do stick out, which is very awesome. So overall, what do I think? I really like the characters. I like the fact that we have two separate Junkions. Much better than the G1 toys. Better sculpted, better molded. But Junkheap's just got a better paint job, I think. Flat out, he's got a better paint job. And I also like the fact that up here in the corners, you kind of got like this weapon-looking thing with the kind of a double-barreled gun, or however you want to set it up. That's kind of cool. So overall, I really do like these figures. They are definitely great figures to have together. I know they make replacement heads where you can get various Junkions and build a Junkion army, which the nice thing about having very different paint apps, you could probably buy a bulk group of both of these figures and dismantle them and switch all the parts out because they're all the same. So maybe put the arms from Wreck-Gar over here, and this piece as I destroy him. That's okay. You knock him down to get right back up. Put that over there. Just switch them up. That would be kind of cool because they are very, very dramatically different paint jobs. So you could have a lot of fun building a good Junkion army. That is for sure. And then throw some custom paint in there, and you're gonna have tons of fun. So that's it. I'm very impressed with the figures. I will definitely keep them in robot mode together like this. You know what? I think the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put one back into motorcycle mode and have the other one on top of him riding him like in the cartoon. See how well that works. So let's check that out, shall we? And here it is. This is what makes this figure set so awesome. One in motorcycle, the other in robot, riding him. How awesome is that? That's just going to look so cool on the shelf. In fact, I think that's exactly the way it's going to get posed on the shelf. Very cool stuff. Very 1986 Transformers the movie. Very cool, very impressive. Thank you, Hasbro, for having forethought to do that. Very awesome, very cool. Should you get the Junkions? Yes. Get both of them, Junkheap and Wreck-Gar, if not a whole bunch more. Make your own Junkion army. Very awesome. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked it. And remember, you too can dare to be stupid.